What's in a name? So it depends what name you've been given. There are some people who love their names, and some people don't love their names. People have names for many different reasons. Sometimes people had parents who liked a particular name and they chose to give their child that name. Sometimes people are named for other people. I have a friend who was born 22 years after his next closest sibling, and when his earlier siblings were born, his parents were very young, and all of his grandparents were alive. By the time he was born, grandparents were not alive, so he got the names of all the grandfathers, and his name is Avram Yitzchak Yaakov Yitzchak Adav Berish Ben Kleinim is Kalman Alevi. So all kinds of different names out there. In this week's Parsha, Yaakov is given an additional name, and what's fascinating is that while he's given the name Yisrael, he still retains his name Yaakov. As you know, Yaakov has this epic struggle with a man. That's all it tells us. Vayovek ish imo adalos hashachar, that a man struggled with him until the morning. We have a tradition that this man, quote unquote, was an angel. He was the Sar Shel Esav. He was the agent, the ministering angel of Esav. And Yaakov has this wrestling match. And finally, at the end of the match, the man who Yaakov is wrestling with, the angel, says, "Let me go." And Yaakov says, "No, I'm not letting you go until you bless me." So that in itself is most unusual. People who usually get into a fight with somebody, people don't necessarily want to be blessed by their combatant. But okay, this was an unusual struggle, and Yaakov asks for a blessing, and the quote unquote the man, the angel, says to Yaakov, "What's your name?" And he says Yaakov, and he says, "Your name will no longer be called Yaakov, it will be called Yisrael, because you have struggled with man and God, and you have persevered." And unlike others who had a name change, and the name change was permanent, and the previous name was never used again, Avraham used to be Avram, we don't call him Avram. Sarah used to be Sarai, we don't call her Sarai. But Yaakov has the dual personality of being both Yaakov and Yisrael. True, granted. But what's really remarkable is that not only does Yaakov, after somebody is trying to kill him, say, "Give me a bracha," but after he gets the bracha, he says, "And do me a favor, tell me, what's your name?" As long as we're busy trying to kill each other, and now we stop fighting, and you're giving me a bracha, okay, I told you my name, you told me your name. And he says, "Lama zeti shal lishmi, what are you asking my name for?" And that's it. Vayivarchos Osham, he blesses him there, and that's it. Goodbye, Charlie. Very strange confluence of events. What exactly is happening over here? Why does Yaakov want to know the name of someone that tried to kill him? What's it going to help him? It's curiosity. And there's reluctance. He doesn't get the answer to his question. So, I've spoken about this in different ways in the past, but I would suggest that you see something that is so important in life. Yaakov was Ish Emes. Yaakov was a man of truth. Yaakov was a good man. And Yaakov, if he's being attacked, can't be for nothing. Can't be that for no reason. Yaakov presumes that things don't just happen in life. And you have to try to understand what happens to you in life. You have to try to understand the forces of life that support you, but also those that are oppositional. And so Yaakov asks, "Tell me about your name." Lama zeti shal lishmi is the response that he gets, but he wants to know the name because he wants to try to understand who is standing against him? What's the force, the spiritual force that is opposing him? Maybe if I can understand better, then I can react better, that I can prepare myself better. And I think in life for us, it's important obviously to recognize what our challenges are. What are the forces that are against us? But not only do we have to understand the challenges that we face and the forces that oppose us, we have to not only be able to recognize them, but we have to be able to identify them. We have to be able to understand them. If we understand, so to speak, our Yetzer Hara a little bit better, that's better for us. That if we understand the challenges that we're facing, then we can better face them. Where we often fall in our spiritual struggles is when we don't pay attention, when we don't try to understand what are the forces that are tugging at us, when we do things in a mindless way. And there are so many things that people can do in a thoughtless manner. There's certain behaviors that people can have, that people do in ways which aren't thought out, but also in our interactions with others. If someone says something to you, if you can, try to pause before you respond. Because a lot of times the knee-jerk reaction that you may have is one that you may regret later. You may wish that you didn't get so angry. You may wish that you didn't make that cynical comment. You may wish that you held your tongue just a little bit more. We see it all the time on social media where influencers have to apologize because they wrote and they said things without thinking. They didn't bother to ask and to try to understand what's in front of them. So, during this pandemic, where we still need to be very careful, everybody should please follow the guidelines about social distancing, making sure that when you're walking in the street, to always walk with a mask, etc., 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 that we not fall prey to the knee-jerk reactions that we might have because we are spending so much time indoors in close quarters with others, and not allow ourselves to just have knee-jerk reactions. If we really try to understand where someone else is coming from and what their need is and what their perspective and what their attitude is, hopefully we can make sure to respond in the right way and to bless them, and hopefully we can be blessed with the ultimate Geula. May it come, Mer V'Meinu, Amen.